Question for today is Romania, Poland, and my thoughts on Europe as a whole. So I've been to Romania and Poland. The Romania country is located in Eastern Europe. Poland is located in Central Europe. They have interesting cultures. I think that when I reflect on my time in Romania, Romania was a bit more developed, much more developed country. Excuse me, not Romania. Poland was much more developed. Romania was a little bit more old school uh, and a little bit more rustic. Let's start with that. The landscape of the two countries was uh, a bit of a contrast. Really, mostly Eastern Europe is. Even when I was in Serbia, one thing I noticed once you got away from the airport area, the downtown area was many of the buildings were littered in graffiti. Also, it had like an old school look, 80s, uh, 80s, 90s look, which you see in a lot of American movies of Russia, and it was a bit of a dark overshadow, and the buildings had more like the architecture that you would most associate with Eastern Europe or most notably Russia. The weather, so I went actually during the summer to both of those countries, and but it was okay. It never got over 70, but not bad weather for the summertime, from my recollection. I When I think about the people, I think the people were they could be a number of different ways. They could be indifferent, they could be downright rude, or they could be fairly nice. All depend on who you dealt with. I had a couple situations that I was there when I was in both countries, and the people were pretty pleasant. I've got a number of different services there. I got my hair lined up when I was in Poland, uh, and Poland it really had an admixture of different people in the city of Warsaw. Poland seemed to be a major hub where people came for work. So you had people from Ukraine. You also had people from other neighboring European countries, to include Russia. Russia actually has a plot of land just north of Poland. And hey, how's it going, typical? And it has a influx of different local European people there. So it brings about a lot of different options for cuisine, different food. If you're interested in the European fare, Russian food, German food, also Ukrainian food, most notably due to some things that's happened over the past few years, which brought an influx of Ukrainians coming to the country. Hey, how's it going, Logan? And hey, typical, what's up, man? What's up? Yeah, just having a discussion about my time in Europe, specifically Poland and Romania. You know, it was a pretty cool experience. I actually liked it, Poland, Warsaw a little bit more because of the modern look and the hodgepodge of different European cultures. Um, the club scene, the nightlife, man, it was pretty litty. It was pretty litty in Warsaw. Warsaw was had a number of different assortment of clubs. You had your Latin flair. Yeah, they are good at live videos, that's for sure. Um, hey, Paula. And also, in addition to that, uh, you know, they had the standard pop music, the hip hop flair, and so forth. So you had a nice admixture of different music there. You had your techno clubs too. Yeah, it really wasn't a whole. I didn't see a whole bunch of that, but it was some of that. Yeah, man, typical. If you can go there one day, it's definitely worth the trip. It's definitely worth the trip. If you're going to Poland, you want to go to Warsaw. But yeah, you had a number of different clubs, the Latin club, the pop music. You also had Afro beats. You actually had a number of different Afro beats there as well. Did you see a panda? No, I didn't see a panda. Maybe next time. Hey, shout out, I'm subscribed. Oh, hey, JC, how you doing, bro? Hey, how's it going? But yeah, the clubs are pretty cool. They had a nice, good option pool for you. hey, Lil Mosey, and it was pretty. It had a pretty good nightlife. Definitely worth going back to. I actually may make a trip back up there one day, not too far from now. Romania. Romania was an interesting experience as well. I had a couple of young ladies I was dating there at the time, and it was fun. And you know, people, a lot of the women there, their look is more like an admixture of like Asian and European. I'm trying to think of how could I describe a famous celebrity, but I can't actually think of the top of my head. But um, very beautiful women. A lot of the people had girls had brunette hair. A lot of the men they had more like a brunette look. Contrast that to Poland, which more blondes and so forth. As you can see on my video of Warsaw, the nightlife in Warsaw, and uh, if you like for the fellas, if you're into like blondes or blonde hair women, Poland is a good place to go. Romania is a little bit more because its location in the world. It pulls a lot of people from Central Asia, and then the history of the people is Gypsies, Central Asia, and then also that Eastern European bloc. So you get more of that look, a little bit more of a tan skin, slightly with the people there. The nightlife was pretty cool. A lot of it was centered in Romania around Old Town. Old Town, that's like the major party area for all the most litty clubs. You had this place, I think it's called Nazu. They play like a lot of like dance hall, Afro beats, pop music, hip hop, a little bit of assortment of that, and it was pretty popping. It was pretty popping. I actually went when I was in Romania. I went on a bar crawl, the Romania bar crawl. I actually put it in the description box here. Uh, and oh yeah, I actually probably will do another live tomorrow. Thanks for the idea. Typical, but they they had a lot of different clubs and so forth. I actually have it on this vlog as well, the Romanian nightlife, and you'll see me walking through the different clubs, that aforementioned one, those, and then also a number of different clubs. They're playing like further techno, and then they're playing like your hip hop, your pop. They also had their own like rap genre of music there. I know I first learned about this when I was in Serbia with a young woman I was dating, and like they like a rap music that is popular over there. So I never had heard of this music before, but I never ventured this far into Europe previously, and it's pretty cool. Sound dope, for sure. I mean, it was definitely a cool cultural experience to see all that and see how the people get down. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, they into it, bro. Like typical. Like I was in a beach town in Romania called Constanza. There you go. In Constanza, I think it was having like all the hip hop artists, Cardi B, what's the guy named ASAP Rocky, I think, and a couple other major artists. They were all coming there to just party. Like all the billboards had like all these rap stars and so forth, especially even in Bucharest. And I was surprised, man. It was way more than, let's say, in Asia, like the popular Asia spots like Bangkok. Bangkok, you see it, but you see it like in certain sectors, and but in Europe, they really like rap music. Yeah, yeah, it's different. It's different. Yeah, I mean, like I was in one of the clubs going back to Poland. I was in one of the clubs. I actually have it where the blonde girls dance on the table. Like all the girls, blondies over, they rapping the music. They know all the lyrics, all the popular songs. I was like, oh my god, man, they must love the hip hop over here. But actually, the baby was over there about 7 months ago, and yeah, he was definitely getting a lot of love. They was all on him, and yeah, I mean, yeah, they into that flavor for sure. You go to the right spots. If you go to the right spots, they into that flavor. You got to watch out now, but I don't think, for lack of a better word, it would be too hard of a thing to dive deep into and have a good time in while you're there in Warsaw. So yeah, I mean, Warsaw was it was an interesting time, and so was Bucharest as well, with the old town and the nightlife there, and yeah, it was pretty cool. The food in Romania is an admixture of like you have like a lot of Middle Eastern, bit of a Middle Eastern food, and then you have your European flair, a lot of meat, so forth, meat, potatoes, things of that nature. I'm obviously not a meat eater, I'm vegan, but I saw on the menu, pretty cool. And are they going Eminem? I don't know. Maybe some people are. It depends. But yeah, I mean, they had for the food. They had so many different options. Actually, a very a large assortment of international cuisine. Yeah, local European flair. Your Italian food. I think I saw a couple Spanish restaurants. Turkish. You actually had a couple Turkish restaurants there in Romania. Of course, with Turkey not being too far away from Romania, so you had. That bit of option as well for food and so forth. And yeah, it was it definitely gave the palate a lot of options if you're into a lot of different cuisines. So something to check out. Yeah, these two countries, like when I think about the people, now the people, it could mix. Like I actually thought Poland was a little bit more sophisticated. I think people in Romania kind of was maybe a little bit rude, personally. But even like the people I was dealing with, like they kind of had a funny style way of acting. But it was like they was they were rude, but they wasn't rude. It was just kind of funny. It wasn't like it's hard to describe. And sometimes they might be blunt, and then sometimes it might be like Um, as a black, I would say like Romania seemed like it could be kind of funny style a little bit because some people would talk to you, some people wouldn't. But went to the clubs and I would talk to the guys there, and it was cool. But as far as the girls concerned, cold approaching, I don't know if it was like the best place for that. Poland seemed like it was much more open to it, particularly. But I know I kept running into like the Ukrainians. Like I would like the girls I would end up talking to. They'd be like from Ukraine. They seemed to be the most receptive. Or the girls giving me the eye. They were the ones choosing the most. When I was in Poland, when I was in Romania, it was kind of like an admixture, but it wasn't. They weren't that friendly. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't. When you feel like maybe I don't belong here, or it's okay, or it's not that great. It was kind of like okay, but it wasn't that great in Romania. Just to be honest, Poland would definitely be the better place, like with potentiality speaking for a person of color. I think that probably has a lot to do with the history of Poland. Um, Not to mention the girls are going to be hotter there in Poland anyway. So yeah, I mean, and it's probably a bit more of a developed country, a bit more safer, so forth. So yeah, but I didn't really have like any majorly bad experience. Maybe some goofy experiences, but not any majorly bad experience. Um, I know as though like yeah, it was just goofy experience. Some goofy kids maybe here and there, um, but as far as now to go to living, um, when I look at those two countries, I would say that Poland seemed to be the most developed and probably hence the better location to live in. Romania was a little bit more rustic. Like I said earlier in the video about the graffiti all throughout the city of Bucharest, but also even the train station was a little bit more old school from going from Bucharest to Constanza. Um, I think that is definitely cool to go visit. But like if I was going to an Eastern European country again, I would probably say Serbia might actually be a bit better. And I did a review on Serbia last year. Serbia was it's considered the most friendliest Eastern European country, at least one of them. And I think the people, booger, really. Nope, no booger. But you know, I think that you know, the people was Serbia was kind of like a little bit more friendly, and I think like if you're interested into Eastern Europe, Serbia would probably be the better place to go, and I think you would have a better time. The history that they have there, the tours that I saw within the Airbnb experience, and talking to the locals, they were much more approachable and friendlier. Specifically when you go to the castle area, where a lot of people hang out. That's kind of like the hangout area, and I think that's like if I was one if in like when it comes to people are friendlier, girls are prettier, Serbia as well, and I think that the vibe there is cooler. And anytime you travel somewhere, you want to be somewhere where it's good vibes. And I think Serbian people would be a little bit more friendlier, particularly in Belgrade. I think that would be a good place to go. Romania was kind of it's like a one and done kind of place. It's kind of like you go there. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Even with their touristic options, they have a place for Count or Dracula. It was they said a guy who drank people's blood or something like that, to the north part of the country. But he, from my reviews of it, it was kind of convoluted as far as getting into the castle and the organization of things. Then with the transportation, it was a bit more sparse transportation options, that is. Um, and I think that it just might not like I think with Serbia, Belgrade, like if I was to choose between let's say Belgrade or Bucharest, with Belgrade, not focused on the trivia, you got the history of Nikola Tesla. You can learn about Nikola Tesla. You can go visit his old home. You could also go to the castle. Sorry for K. The castle that overlooked the waterfront. I think that would be a dope place to go to. And you know, I think that would it would be more like a better place to check out. Uh, and I just think that when you're talking about when you're talking about excuse me, when you're talking about like different options, I think Belgrade would provide a a better experience. I just think it would provide a better experience from what I recall. What else? Yeah, Europe as a whole. Now I'm talking about Serbia. Europe as a whole is kind of it's an interesting experience. It has such a great history. Um, I always, being black, I always speak it from a black male perspective. Um, it's actually a bit different than my country. Like remember when I went to Holland, that was the first European country I went to. It was freezing cold. I went there during November, but it was super spacious and it had like this old like European feel with the buildings and so forth from the 1300s. And I thought it was the weed shops they had. Then you had the debauchery with the red light district and so forth. I drove by there, but it wasn't my thing. But even when I dealt with a lot of the people that came there for tourism and so forth, a lot of people from Ireland that came there. I stayed at a hostel that time, so I hung out with a couple people there. I was talking to a couple young ladies from Ireland at the time. I just felt like that vibe was actually different than the vibe here that I experienced in the northeast part of the United States of America. Even with UK, which is probably the most similar to the United States, I found like my times in Europe, you would have a hit or miss. You had people that were very closed-minded towards me, and then you had people that were very, very open-minded. And quality people. And I've always found that very interesting, my experience being who I am. And it makes you really think about like, the challenge, what people say is and what people say isn't. Um, in the States, it's kind of like this whole duality thing, a division, and people pretending like they like each other, but they hate one another. And over there it is too, especially with a lot of African immigrants. They deal with the worst a lot of times, and how they treat it. But for me as an African American male, I saw that the people would be a little bit more nicer to me. They still observed my high percentage of hue, but they really notated the fact that I was from the USA. And I feel like for me as a black male African American, I experienced a pretty okay time in Europe, and the people, except for in Germany, I didn't like Germany. I did a vlog on that. I didn't like my time there, and my research on Germany and Austria, which is right near it, validates probably why I experienced what I experienced there. But you know, I mean, that's the history of the home of the Nazis, so it wasn't that much of a surprise. But and which other girls in Western Europe told me it would be like prior to going there. But overall, going to Europe, I know a lot of people are like, oh, should I go? Should I not go? I think you do have to be careful. Specifically being a person of color, you should always be on your P's and Q's. But surprisingly, you could go there and be okay. Maybe for like a holiday, and just see how it is, have fun and so forth. But I think that you can have a lot of experience that maybe you wanted to experience that you haven't experienced. And then also you can learn a lot about the culture, about Nikola Tesla and the great scientists from Serbia. You can learn about the Polish communism and how it impacted the people from the past till this day, and why many people from Poland fled Poland decades ago for a better life for themselves and their family to escape communism, at least in the words of some Polish people I met there. You can also learn about the different history of, with Romania, with the gypsies and the Romanians, and how the social stratification of that relationship goes about. You can also learn about the different cuisine that they have there. You can learn about a number of different things. But I think being who I am, being open-minded to the possibility and going to see for myself what it is, but being safe and being smart, i.e. staying in the major metropolitan area, staying in the nice part of the town where a lot of tourists are at and so forth, and just surround myself with good company. I think all those things helps for a great experience. A lot of people will find they do choose to do proper research and venture to the right European country. I think for themselves, they can have a really great time. And I think it's really a good idea to be open to that possibility. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on Europe, specifically Poland, Romania. I also threw in Serbia, and then also Europe as a whole. I think overall, Europe can be an amazing time. It has so much history, right? Specifically Western Europe with UK and France, the great conquerors of the planet, and frankly in Spain as well. That's where all the gold from the coffers from Latin America are at, in Spain. I think you can really soak up the history and learn so much, and do it without you being biased. And I think that can really go a long way to becoming a better, more well-rounded person, traveler, and human being. All right, till next time.